Sorry I couldn't be with you on Wednesday. I was out of town to see family, and I was a little bit too optimistic about my schedule. These videos do take many hours behind the scenes to produce, and it is a one-man job, so I was not able to make Wednesday work. But we are back once again. Hope you all had a great Thanksgiving. Certainly many of us getting a taste of winter right now as a negative Arctic oscillation helps push a little cold air southward across Canada and nearly all of the United States. Let's take a look at that surface map for this afternoon. We've got a large ridge moving in from Canada. One part of it extends all the way into the south-central U.S. This is bringing cold air southward east of the Rockies. This is a pattern we haven't really seen in a while. This is what we refer to as a prevailing high. Now, typically these systems originate from Canada, so we have high pressure up to the north, low pressure down in Texas and the Gulf. And you can see the characteristic high pressure across the northern plains. The Pacific weather systems will have this kind of appearance. This is a different kind of pattern. This is more what we've been seeing through early and middle November. Definitely supports advection of moisture and warmth from the Gulf and from Mexico, low-level jets and high dew points, that kind of thing. And the high-pressure areas tend to be a little bit more mild and focused mostly on the East Coast. These high-pressure areas of Canadian origin, we've got temperatures below zero in North Dakota, and we go up into the prairies. We're down to -10 in Saskatchewan. This shows the extent of the Arctic air all the way into the Northwest Territories, and some of the valleys up there are below -30 to -40. But definitely not very much extent into the high plains, temperatures there running anywhere from 20 to about 45 degrees. It was actually kind of a mild afternoon at Denver. In the northeastern region, we've gone headfirst into winter. The northeast snow belt active once again as lake effect snows take hold. We warned you back on Monday that might be a possibility as cold air advection goes into full force, and we can certainly see that. A deep low up there near Hudson Bay in Quebec, driving northwesterly flow into the Great Lakes. That means all of these southern and eastern shores of each lake are producing lake effect snows. For Lake Ontario, lake effect snow warning into Monday, especially for that area right there around Watertown. 4 to 6 feet are possible. Winter weather advisories extend into the Adirondacks. Lake Erie, they're getting it as well. Lake effect snow warning through Monday. 1 to 2 feet expected south of Buffalo, 3 to 4 feet further southwest. Buffalo only expected to get about 5 inches. The wind direction's not really favorable for blowing snow right into the city. But Hamburg, New York to Erie, Ashtabula, Mentor, Ohio, they could be up into the feet of snowfall. Cleveland under a winter weather advisory through tomorrow morning for 4 inches of snow, and winter weather advisories extend about 75 miles inland towards McKean and Warren County, Pennsylvania. The Lake Michigan snowbelt also active, the western part of Michigan. Around Traverse City, about 3 to 6 inches. Further south towards Grand Rapids, looking for about 1 to 2 inches through early Saturday. Lake Superior as well in the northern UP of Michigan. They've got warnings up there anywhere from 4 to 30 inches of snow, heaviest along Highway 28. Lake Huron, Environment Canada has snow squall warnings all along the east shore of Lake Huron, up to 16 inches of snow expected in some areas. And that goes from Goderich to Georgian Bay and up towards Sault Ste. Marie. A cold front has moved through the southeast, currently passing through Florida this evening. You can see that band of cloudiness from the Gulf Stream down across the Florida peninsula. Cold air filtering in behind that cold front. We have freeze warnings tonight all through the southeast, from Wilmington, North Carolina, to Charleston, Augusta, Waycross, Georgia, Albany, Georgia, southwest Alabama into Mississippi, northern Louisiana, and all the way into Texas as far as Marshall and Sam Rayburn Reservoir. Freeze watch for tomorrow night through the Florida Panhandle, including Tallahassee. It's going to be another cold one tonight for much of Texas, Oklahoma, as the remainder of that cold air passes south through the southern plains. Lots of fair weather, and you can see evidence of a upper-level ridge, some anticyclonic curvature to that high cloud across the southwestern U.S. As we mentioned, a bitterly cold day in North Dakota, lots of snow cover all the way down towards Watertown and just north of Minneapolis. We've got teens all the way down towards Minneapolis itself, 20s to Chicago and Des Moines, sub-freezing all the way to South Bend, Indianapolis, Omaha, and Rapid City. So definitely cold air lurking up to the north, just not coming very far south into the Central Plains. Denver was a nice toasty 46 degrees, but coming up this weekend, we've got a winter weather advisory for parts of Missouri, Columbia, St. Louis, looking for about 2 to 4 inches, with 1 to 3 inches further to the west. And of course, we mentioned those lake effect snows in the Great Lakes. In the western U.S., many of our ongoing weather problems have finally cleared up. Mild in the deserts, a lot of high cloud keeping the temperatures down. We were looking at 75 in Phoenix today, 73 at Tucson, and 58 at Las Vegas. The San Joaquin Valley, upper 50s for highs, cold air in place, and we do have a frost advisory in parts of the Bay Area inland. The Livermore Valley up to Sonoma and Napa County could be down towards freezing. Southwesterly flow across Southern California, bringing in some moisture, so quite a bit of high cloud on tap for that part of the country. In the Pacific Northwest, stratus and fog taking hold, replacing that stormy weather that we had last week. So the Willamette Valley, Seattle, the Columbia River Valley, they've all got stagnant weather conditions, and that's going to continue probably through Thursday next week. Temperatures overall running in the 30s and 40s. This will give you a look at the conditions out there on the West Coast. Most of the stormy weather, thousands of miles out to the west. The West Coast itself dominated by high pressure, 1026 millibar high, across Washington and off the coast of Oregon. Then heading up into West Canada and Alaska, we do encounter an atmospheric river spreading into the Alaska Panhandle and the Prince Rupert area. Winter storm watch for the Alaska Panhandle, Saturday afternoon through Sunday night. Looking for 3 to 6 inches of snow south with 8 to 11 further north. That will start out as snow initially and the transition over to rainfall from Saturday into Sunday. We've also got rainfall warnings along the coast around Bella Bella and Bella Coola, about 3 to 5 inches of rain expected. Winter storm watch further north around Prince Rupert. And as you go inland, we pick up snowfall warnings into central British Columbia and western Alberta. That will cover the Whitecourt and Grand Prairie region. Snowfall amounts in those areas will run about 4 to 12 inches, with local accumulations up to 2 to 3 feet. Further up north into Alaska, a quiet day, but definitely Arctic air in place, minus 30 around Fort Yukon down towards Dawson. And as we head out west, plenty of sub-zero conditions across the Northwest Territories and Nunavut. One little exception across Quebec and Hudson Bay. You would think that it would be bitterly cold up there, but ironically, it is warmer in Quebec than it is in Minneapolis and Iowa. And that's due to warm air wrapping around these systems of occlusions across the Maritimes, coming around into Hudson Bay from the east. So this does have somewhat of a tropical origin, mostly in the upper levels, but you can see those dew points are still up there in the 20s and 30s. So a little bit of moisture making its way around the north side of these weather systems. Let's take a look at the 500 millibar heights and vorticity. We see a large area of troughing across the eastern U.S., which represents cold weather. And in the western U.S., we've got ridging, which represents warm weather. And of course, not much warm air at the surface. We've only got 40s in the Pacific Northwest, but you go just above the surface, and yeah, there is warm air. That's what's providing an inversion in this part of the country. Warm over cold. And we're talking about warm air up at about 5 to 10,000 feet. That's enough to lock down things with an inversion and keep the weather stagnant. However, this system right here, this is going to move rapidly to the east, putting much of Missouri under the divergent left front quadrant. During the day tomorrow, upper level lift, and that will shift into the Ohio River Valley, Kentucky, Louisville, Cincinnati, and eventually into West Virginia for early on Sunday. And of course, some of our advanced viewers do like the Q vectors. That's one other way to see vertical motion. The red here indicating Q vector convergence, which is associated with upper level lift. And as we go into the overnight hours, definitely develops out there in the central plains. And by dawn, lots of lift being indicated around Kansas City and then moving eastward through the day into Missouri. So that is the area of upper level lift ahead of that shortwave, and that moves into the Appalachians early on Sunday. So we are running into overtime. I need to go ahead and get this packaged and uploaded. But there is that large area of ridging across the central plains. Then going into the day tomorrow, there's that little band of showers, snow showers across Missouri. That's going to be north of this little warm front. So warm air advection coupling with that upper level divergence and helping to get that precip going. And that moves eastward during the day into the evening, and then the remainder of the system pushes south, cold advection into Oklahoma and Texas. The lake effect snows continue into early Sunday. Then going into Sunday itself, remaining bitterly cold up there in the Dakotas as more cold air filters southward. Snow moves from the Ohio River Valley into West Virginia and Pennsylvania, and out in the western U.S., that'll be mostly dominated by fog in the Willamette and Columbia valleys and in the upper Snake River Valley of Idaho. Some fog also starting to show up in the San Joaquin Valley. Then we go into Monday. Yep, there comes another reinforcement of cold air. The lake effect snows continue out there in the Great Lakes, and some of that cold air makes its way into Texas as well. Then we go into Tuesday, a little bit of a change down there in Texas. Southerly flow gets established. That strong warm advection over a cold pool helps clouds develop. So we'll see those clouds on the increase, and also the possibility of a low-level jet getting established as well into Tuesday evening. And there it is right there, helping to support that warm front in Kansas, but another cold front on its way south. So we're just going to see a repeat of cold air up there in the northern plains and the Great Lakes. The lake effect snows get established once again, and that's going to be the latest frame that I have. Plenty of cold air on the way into the northeastern quarter of the country. So what can I say? Just more of the same. And that's all for this edition of Forecast Lab. Take care, and we'll see you back here on Monday for the supporters and on Wednesday for everybody else. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.